I'm so excited to talk about this. We are finally here. We are at the Draymond Green Jordan Poole bout. Draymond Green, anime supervillain, punched Jordan Poole at practice last week. We don't know why. Ballsack Sports put out this absolutely tremendous piece of satire where he was talking about how Jordan Poole was like making fun of Draymond Green for going to be broke and in Sacramento last season, making fun of him for triple singles at Michigan State, this, that, whatever. But the Warriors, in the wake of this, are launching an investigation into not into the incident itself, because Draymond has already said that he'll be taking time away from the team while all of this, I guess, gets resolved. But how TMZ obtained a copy of the tape, and the tape, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the tape is absolutely tremendous. It is. I would play it for the video viewers, but you guys already know. You guys already know how fucking crazy it was. Actually, you know what? No, we doing that. We're gonna pull that up. I think it really is too good not to talk about. So this is the grainiest footage of all time, and it begins with Jordan Poole on the baseline. I guess he's chirping. Draymond walks over. Jordan Poole shoves him, and then Draymond counters with a full body punch that you only see in anime. He teed up like he was One Punch Man. He teed up like he was getting ready to fight Azula, like he was Aang getting ready to fight Azula. He put his whole body into this. Now, I gotta keep it real. When I first, when this incident first dropped, when new drama dropped, I was expecting to see a lame punch, a weak punch, a punch that was like one of those swiping punches that most NBA players give to another NBA player, like if there's a scrum or whatever. I was not expecting this. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Dre put like his whole body into this. It was like Jordan Poole said something about his mom or his wife or one of his children. That's the type of hit that you lay when someone says some shit about your mom. And also, credit to Jordan Poole. I think that Jordan Poole's chin is not being talked about enough because I don't think he sustained any injuries. I don't think he got knocked out, surprisingly. And it was like a solid punch, bordering on a sucker punch. Some people were calling it that. Uh, I don't really know because JP did shove Draymond. He did put his hands on Draymond. So I'm not surprised that Draymond decided to put his hand on Jordan Poole. Draymond apologized, yada yada. He said, I'm going to continue to stay away as I've been away and continue to work on myself, but also just give guys space. I do want to give my team some space. I want to give Jordan some space. And then I also want to take a few days and continue to work on myself, take some time to let everything breathe. Green initially apologized to Poole and the team on Thursday before practice, then immediately left the facility and went home. In addition to a team-wide apology, Green said he had apologized to Poole individually and also has offered apologies to Poole's family, but Green doesn't know how his apologies have landed with Poole. Jordan's feelings are the most important, and to be honest, I'm not sure how he feels. That's not a bridge we've crossed yet, nor should it be a bridge we've crossed yet. The most important thing initially is to allow Jordan to work through his thoughts and not me try to persuade his thoughts one way or another. On Friday, a video was leaked that showed the incident, which prompted Green and the Warriors to mutually agree he should spend more time away from the team. The Warriors have also launched an investigation to find the source of the leak. Quote, I've watched the video 15 times, maybe more, because when I watched the video, I'm like, yo, this looks awful. This looks even worse than I thought it was. It was pathetic. According to Steve Kerr, the video leak has impacted the way the team has been able to move forward from the altercation. In 32 years, I've probably seen 20 plus fights. It should not make it out of our walls, Kerr said. Same dude who got fucking mollywopped by Michael Jordan, mind you. And I can assure you, if social media were around at that time, that video would have leaked. When things are kept internal, it's almost easy to handle. As soon as things are leaked, all hell breaks loose. That affects every single player, coach. It's like if you had a camera in your family and there was a family dispute, would you really want to discuss it with the world? No. The video does not show anything before Green punching Poole, and Green did not specify the events leading up to the incident, saying he didn't want to use sympathy tactics or reveal anything that could change people's minds on what happened. But he did say it did not stem from impending and ongoing contract negotiations for himself and Poole. Poole is eligible for a rookie extension, and his representation is in the process of negotiating with Golden State. Both parties are using the October 17th deadline as a driving force to get deals done, which would avoid the possibility of him entering restricted free agency next summer. Green is a player option waiting at the end of the season. If it's not picked up, Green will become an unrestricted free agent in 2024. Green has publicly stated that he doesn't believe he and the Warriors will reach an agreement this year. On Thursday, the Warriors general manager Bob Myers shared the same sentiment on the altercation that the altercation was not shared the same sentiment that the altercation was not motivated by contract discussions, and said that from his point of view, the fight stemmed from normal in practice trash talk. Quote, that day that took place, I was in a very, very bad space mentally. As a leader of the team, I needed to have a better feel for myself and just know and understand where my Wick's end was and what could possibly push me the wrong way. Frankly, I didn't handle that well, and I failed as a leader. I failed as a man, and I failed as a leader. Green said that while he's away from the team, he will take steps to work on himself, but did not specify what those steps will be. Probably be like anger management or some shit. Maybe he'll be meditating or something. I like to keep my emotions to myself, but what I do want to change and what I do want to work on is how they end up coming out and how you do let them out without them coming out in a way that you ultimately regret. And this is one I sincerely regret. There are not many things in life that I regret. Green's fire and tough love is viewed as a positive by the Warriors. On media day, Clay said that being yelled at by Green, quote, is practically a bylaw, and that if you couldn't handle it, you probably shouldn't play for the Warriors. But there have been multiple occasions where Green has crossed the line. Of course there are. This one, though, feels different. Quote, it's absolutely different because someone else was affected in a major way. With word arguments, it requires two people. Words have an effect for sure, but they do not have the same effect as actions. When you have something that is action-packed, it is different than just some words. Green has historically had a close relationship with Poole and has intentionally made sure their lockers would be next to each other since Poole was drafted in 2019. Last season, Green said the moment he knew he liked Poole was when he saw him trash talking during Poole's first training camp. Quote, my love is there, and my love ain't going nowhere. I will continue to support him and lead him. Leading comes with a responsibility that I dropped the ball on. You have to rebuild the trust in that. Although Green hasn't decided how long his absence will be, he plans to be available on opening night against the Lakers. Officials and Bob Myers say they don't expect Green to miss any games. What ultimately added to this was, of course, the surprising nature of it was the fact that Green is, of course, a very emotional person. He gets very emotional on the court, sometimes good, sometimes bad. You think about the multiple nut kicks he's had, the one most notably on Steven Adams. I'm struggling to remember who the other one was against. There was, of course, that one time where he stepped over LeBron. He ultimately got suspended for that, and of course, that's a touchy subject because LeBron retaliated as well in the finals, of course, so it's hard not to talk about it. But this is different because kicking kicking Steven Adams in the nuts, as fucked up as it was, and as fucked up as it still is on a different level than fucking punching your teammate in the mouth. Not only that, but punching a key contributor to your team in the mouth. Green, obviously, in the wrong here. I'm glad that he apologized. I'm glad that he's taking some time away. I'm glad that he apologized to Jordan Poole. Individually, he's checking all the boxes, and I do feel that he is very remorseful over this. I also do not believe that it has anything to do with contract negotiations because that's just fucking that's stupid. It's stupid to think that Draymond would want to create this level of a distraction when both of these guys are still on contracts and they still have a whole year together. Like they're stuck with one another until the end of the year, whenever that may be. I do think that Jordan Poole was running his mouth in practice, and sometimes when you run your mouth, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to take what the other dude is going to give you. Of course, there are levels to that. I think that JP must have said something kind of fucked up for Dre to react in this way. I also think that JP pushing Draymond escalated the situation because you can't put your hands on another person and then like not expect them to retaliate. That's how fights start. and that's how fights are viewed through the legal recourse. I don't think that anything legal comes out of this because ultimately I ultimately I feel that both players are, kind of to blame, but Draymond more than anything else. Also, you got to remember, like, bro, Draymond, you're 30 years old, my guy. You've been in the league for a long time. Jordan Poole is 23, 22. He's still a kid, okay? He doesn't know how to control his emotions at this point, I don't think. Draymond should know better. He even said he failed as leader, he failed as a man. I 100% agree. He crossed the line. 100%. I don't think JP should have pushed him, but Draymond needs to know better. He cannot act this way, especially in practice. Like, you can't act this way ever, but in practice against one of your teammates, that's fucked up. That's fucked up, man. Now, the discourse has shifted from like Green's punishment. I don't think the Warriors are going to do anything disciplinary because he has already taken himself away from the team. Um, I think they recognize that this kind of shit happens. Okay, as I mentioned, Steve Kerr was punched in the mouth by Michael Jordan. Shit happens. Kobe Bryant has gotten physical with people. J.R. Smith threw a can of soup at one of the assistant coaches. Like, when you're competing and when you're a championship caliber team and you have a certain level to reach, especially when you're just coming off of a championship, there is extra pressure. There is going to be that pressure on you to not only repeat as champions, but to come out of the gates firing and to come out of the gates looking sharp. I know they open up against the Lakers, and the Lakers are not going to be that great this year, but you can't, like, that's a primetime matchup. LeBron, Steph, Clay, AD, Russ, Draymond. That is a huge, huge game. That is a huge tone setter for how this season could potentially go. So Draymond 100% stepped over the line. I don't think that this had anything to do with contract negotiations. I think that Draymond is mature enough to know that there's really nothing he can do differently at this point other than just play his game and help the team win a championship. The one person that we got to hear from on this matter is the one, the only Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A is just like, this man is way ahead of everybody else when it comes to content. Just we got to listen to this man's words about Draymond's future with the team.
Golden State's got to resign two people. Three people looking to get resigned. The three people looking to get resigned is Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green. I can tell you right now, Wiggins and Poole are a priority. I can tell you right now that Draymond Green is expecting this to be his last year in Golden State. Now, he want to be a Laker. He ain't going to tell anybody that, but don't think I don't know.
I don't believe
He'd prefer
that.
to be a Laker if he got to leave Golden State. But he's looking for a payday. He's going to get $25 million this year. He got a player option for $24 million next year. The Warriors are probably hoping he don't opt in because they'd have to pay him on top of the cats that they know they got to pay in Poole and Wiggins. And so because of that, this year, I think is very, very salvageable. Because I think the Draymond Green that wants his money knows, especially since this happened, that he's got to go out there, he's got to be on his best behavior, and he's got to bring the game of his life if he wants a new extended contract from somebody else other than the Warriors. Because I think this is his last year as a Golden State Warrior.
I when I look at Draymond, and I think a lot of people share a similar characterization of him. He is undeniably a winning player, someone who can contribute to a championship team, the best, most complete defender of his generation, how he guards 1 through 5, how he operates as kind of like the middle linebacker of the Warriors defense, his ability to make plays on the perimeter, his ability to block shots in the paint, his ability to rebound, the energy he brings. Um, and then of course when you look at his offense, is him being such a unique playmaker despite not really having anything else in his offensive arsenal. He is really a unique player, and I think he recognizes this. I think the Warriors recognize it as well, which is why they gave him this player option because that's what teams do when they have star players. When they have elite players, when they have, a defensive player of the year caliber guy, they give them that player option because they won't be upset if they opt in, especially for $27 million, but they wouldn't be surprised if they opt out. Now, where Draymond splits from the rest of the elite group of guys is that I don't think he is worth $30 million on a team that isn't Golden State because Golden State is set up in such a unique way where he doesn't give them anything on offense outside of passing, and they can live with it because they have Steph and they have Clay and they've had Kevin Durant in the past and they had Iguodala and they have Poole and they have all of these other guys who can subsidize his offensive production, but they take that weakness on offense because he's so impactful on defense. They are not a dynasty without Draymond Green being the elite generational defensive anchor that he is. I don't think that he would have I don't think that he would experience the same level of success on a team that wouldn't be able to subsidize his offensive production, even with everything he gives them on defense. Because also, you have to remember that the Warriors, even though Draymond Green is the backbone, they've always had premier defenders. They've always had great bigs like Kevon Looney. I think James Wiseman has a lot of potential as a defensive center. You look at Klay Thompson before the injury at the beginning of the dynasty. He was an elite wing defender, and he's still serviceable after that surgery. You look at Kevin Durant, who played the best defensive basketball of his career in Golden State. I mean, even Steph Curry. Steph Curry, although he's liable to get beat off the dribble, he's got good hands. He's very disruptive. I mean, he's very active on defense, which is really all you can ask for a guy of his stature, of his size. And then more recently, Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins has exploded as a defensive talent and kind of now occupies the area pre that pre-injury Klay Thompson occupied. So Draymond Green takes all of that and amplifies it. But not every team is going to have that same potential. And we have not a direct example, but a similar example in Rudy Gobert, who is a generational talent, the best interior defender, the best shot blocker in the NBA currently. And all of his teams were kind of mid. Okay? I get that he also wasn't on the best team in Utah, but Utah had a couple years where they were near the top of the Western Conference. And that is with Gobert giving similar production on offense. He's not a huge piece of the offense, but there is a niche for him to occupy. Gobert, it was the roll man, the alley-oop threat. With Green, it's the playmaker from the top of the key who can keep the offense moving when it breaks down. But there are a lot of teams who really wouldn't need to take that, especially since it's going to compromise an additional part of their offense because he's not that great of a three-point shooter. He can't play in the post. It's very difficult to analyze and see what his market value is because you can make the argument for giving him a max deal, but you can also make the argument for not giving him a max deal. I know he says that he doesn't expect the two sides to come to an agreement. Maybe that changes after this year. Maybe he opts in and then makes a compromise with the Warriors because Golden State is looking at this situation, I feel like. And Steph is priority, of course. Clay is priority, of course. Jordan Poole could potentially be a priority. It ultimately depends on how much longer Golden State thinks this run is going to be. Because you can re-sign Draymond for another year or two, another one plus another, a one guaranteed, a one player option contract if you think that after that the run will be over. But if you think you can go longer than that, you know that Clay, Steph, and Dre are a championship caliber trio who will win a title with whoever you put around them. They've done it 3 different times now, 4 different times with drastically different teams each time. So it can be done. I do think that the one guy who is a no-brainer re-signee is Andrew Wiggins because his potential or his improvement is it's so drastic, and there aren't many of him right now. I mean, as great as Jordan Poole is, just look at a guy like Jordan Clarkson who's on the market. There are guys who you can finesse trades for who occupy that sixth man guy off the bench, spark plug off the bench type role. But with all that said, it's hard to replace Draymond Green. They will not be able to replace Draymond Green. I think they know that, but I also think that they're looking at it kind of from the lens of like if Dre is going to ask us for 30, 35 million a year, how would we better be able to spend that where we get players who do similar things to him offensively and defensively, but we get 2 or 3 of them and build out our depth because depth has kind of been an issue for Golden State ever since their first string of titles. They got Kevin Durant. They had to mortgage a lot of their depth to get Kevin Durant. I mean, they lost Sean Livingston, they lost Andre Iguodala, they lost Leandro Barbosa. Like they lost a bunch of guys who were instrumental in their title run. So I think that's how they're looking at it. But I really don't know. I do know for a fact this man is not going to the Lakers. Okay, I don't know why the fuck Stephen A is throwing the Lakers out there. It doesn't make any sense. He's not going to the Lakers. I don't think. I think it's more likely that he gets a 5-year max contract with Golden State before he goes to the Lakers.